It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, welcome to Dirt Talk.
How's it going?
Happy Halloween.
Almost.
Sorta.
October
30th.
Yes.
2012. Steve Poncielman with Mystery Mark. Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
Dartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. I got a nice email today.
Did you?
My stuff is on the way.
All right.
I can't wait. I'm getting all the latest and greatest. It's going to be awesome.
Nice.
Also, thanks Redwood Darts and Windy City Fabricators. How was your weekend?
Not too bad. Nothing too exciting, actually. I did play golf. It was a little cold, but, it was nice out. Nice enough.
So, get this.
Bears won an absolute awful football game, but they won.
You don't.
Don't get you started on that.
Well, so here's the thing. They had the Dartslive Asia in Hong Kong.
Okay.
So, it starts at 1 in the morning our time.
Sunday morning.
Yeah, Sunday morning. So, of course, what do? I stay up.
Yeah.
I watched for, I think 9 straight hours.
Okay.
I watched every single match that they stream live.
What time did it end?
I don't know, 9:30 in the morning?
Jeez.
Something like, yeah. I'm dedicated.
Right. And you had to play darts on Sunday, right?
Well, yeah, and then it's 9:30, and I'm like, oh, God, I should take a nap. I got to play at 1 in this North Side, South Side challenge thing. And I'm like, oh, wow. By the time I drink up, so I ended up kind of wired on
hopped
coffee.
Up coffee, yeah.
Just wired on coffee. I'm like, I can play this way.
Was it good darts to watch?
The North Side, South Side challenge?
Yeah. No.
The
Dartslive
Dartslive. Yeah, it was especially the last matches. Like once they got to top 8, top 4, the final was very compelling.
Yeah.
A high level of play, which I wonder if some of these guys, when they're playing and they know they're getting streamed live, and they start out a little slow, whether they start pressing, it kind of looks to me like some people do, even in the early rounds.
Okay.
Because nobody wants to,
You think it's because they know it's streaming?
I don't know. I wonder if that's. I suspect
right
that may have something to do with it. So the early matches, Paul Lim should have lost. I mean, totally. Some guy had him cold and set up. He had one dart at trip 20 to win. He was on 73 and he went fat 13 to leave a trip 20 and missed it like an inch low.
Really?
After Paul Lim had butchered a 51. He's on 51 with 3 darts in his hand. So you can go trip 17 and win the game. He goes fat 1, goes for the bull, and whiffs on it.
Okay. And then left
himself 38 because he fell into the 12 and he whiffed on that. He whiffed on the 38, which gave this guy a whack at, I don't know, whatever it was. So, I mean, so he was very vulnerable and then, played infinitely better, in the later rounds. So for the people who watch this stuff online, because I wanted to talk about streaming last week and we didn't get to it, sometimes you don't realize how well somebody plays to get to a top 8 or a top 4.
Because you don't see it.
Right, and then so if they play bad and they lose in the semis, you get the impression, well, that guy's no good, but don't make that mistake, right?
Because you didn't get to see everything.
Yeah, because, nobody's going to get through a tough field in a format like they play at this Dartslive Asia without hitting lots of stuff.
Right.
Right? So there's a fair warning to that. No, but I actually...
That's the way anything is when you watch. I mean, if you don't get to see every instance of, every part of a tournament, It's just perception. Whatever you see on TV is what you're going to perceive.
Well, darts is a little different because, like, let's say, you're just watching the last 9 holes of the Masters, and you see a guy's 10 under, and you see a guy's 9 under, you see a guy's 8 under. It gives you some idea what he's done up to that point.
A little bit.
In darts, it's like every match is a fresh page, and there's no averages, really. That there's nothing cumulative because every match you're starting over again. So I guess they could track, like, all your 0-1 scores, this is your average up to now, and all your cricket scores, your average is this up to now.
Sure.
Which would be nice if they could do that, and they probably would have to, like, do some fiddling on the IT side. But they do have that information available to them if they
want to show it.
It would be nice. Again, we're all about covering darts as a sport, so we need information like this to be able to talk about it in a way that everyone can understand. Like if I say, well, Paul Lim up until the final averaged 127 in his 0-1 games, everybody knows he played really, really well.
Yeah.
If I say, well, he averaged, 80
95, right,
or 95 in his 0-1 games, but his cricket average was 7.33, then okay, obviously, he's winning it on cricket, and he's sleeping through the 0-1 games, or whatever. I mean, you get something.
But you need
to go
more
on.
information.
Yeah, you get something to go on. We don't really have box scores,
no,
and, that kind of thing. That's kind of like the distinction I wanted to make on that.
Right.
Soft tip.
Soft.
So anyway, I'm watching the Dartslive thing,
yeah,
right? And then I immediately have to go and play this Northside Southside. It's like the Northside All-Star team versus the Southside All-Star team.
You guys do it every year?
Yeah, they do it every year, although, for some reason, some years I'm not an All-Star. So some years they leave me off.
Depends on who you have annoyed that year. Or not.
Let me tell you something.
If you're in the good graces.
One of the things that really holds back darts in America, and one of the things that has hurt darts in England, and one of the things that may hurt the growth of darts that, some people have really done well, is politics. Right?
It hurts everything.
Well, it's not just that politics hurts everything. It's like what you're seeing now in soft tip with all these competing board manufacturers coming to America, trying to carve out a slice of a pie that apparently was baked by the mob. Because some of these rules I see with the operators and vendors have to deal with, I just am like, where did this come from? So anyway, I don't know. That's something that's going to have to get ironed out. And I think it's going to be incumbent on the players to put their feet down and say, this is what we want, and if you don't do this, then we're not going to play on your boards, and we're not going to go to your tournaments, and anybody who plays on your boards simply isn't cool.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to be with the cool kids, right?
Of course.
Then, things are going to have to change, because it doesn't do any good to have 5 board manufacturers that are each banning everybody else's players, because now you don't have a sport.
Right. No, we said that before.
Yeah. I just thought people are posting some stuff that I'm just sort of like confused about.
But you have no idea why you're not necessarily an all-star every year.
Wow.
Other than politics.
I have an idea. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with my
darts.
Overall game. I think everybody kind of knows what kind of darts Steve's going to throw when Steve shows up and is paying attention. Even when I'm not paying attention, sometimes I hit stuff. So it was you play a normal league match. They had an amateur team, or they had 2 amateur teams, like a nickel and brass.
Yeah.
Right? Then they had a women's and a men's team, and the men's were like, tungsten and masters.
Right.
Right? The South Side comes in with... They have one guy from Indiana who played in the singles league once. I'm not even sure they have a Masters division anymore on the South Side. Then they had a couple of the familiar faces that I think have gravitated now to where they play mostly soft tip. They had somebody on the soft tip pro list playing in the amateur division. I'm looking around. I'm like, what's with all the soft tippers? I'm like, let's play a lot of 0-1 today, right?
Okay.
Because I figure, if you're a steel tipper and you're playing a soft tipper, doubles should be to your advantage, right?
You would think.
as usual, our brass team, our beginner team, got kind of semi-smoked.
Semi-smoked?
Well, I think they lost 6-3.
Okay.
9-point matches, right? They lose 6-3. Our high amateurs won 5-4, so we're down 1.
Right.
And then the men's, we ended up losing 5-4, and they tried to job me again. So get this, I'm playing.
Who did? Who tried to job you?
I don't know. Everybody.
Okay.
It was like a
world's against you.
Well, here's what they did. Right. They want me to play the first match. We're supposed to start at 1. I walk in at 12:45. And I throw like 12 darts on a board with 4 guys. I'm just saying this is what happened.
Okay.
You don't have to read into it. These are the facts. As
right.
I've got my Starbucks on. I feel good. I'm like a little tired, but I'm relatively wide awake.
Yeah,
right?
Wired.
So I throw, 15, 20 darts, warm up for like 5 minutes, and, team captain is like, hey, play the first match, play 5-0-1, best of 5. I'm like, you know what? Last time I was on this team, I didn't do what you said. So this year, I will. So fine, I'll play 5-0 after my 5-minute warm up, whatever. And I played okay. I dropped the first leg. I lose a diddle, right? It's supposed to be best of 5, diddle first leg, diddle last leg. All right, fine, no problem. I lose a diddle. I get 2 clear to double, whiff on it, lose first leg. No problem. I start the next leg, throw like a 15-darter. Felt good. Threw ton 77. Everything's fine. He goes first. I break his throw with another 15-darter, I think. Right now I'm up 2-1. So he's standing at the line. I'm like, it's my start. He started the last one. Go up there and I throw like trip 1, trip 20, single 20, all kind of like right in the corner there. Guy marks up an 83. I'm walking back, and the guy's like, it's not your turn. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh no, it's mugs away. And I'm like, hey, it's mugs away. It's best of 5 mugs away. So I'm standing there and I'm like, let me see if I understand this correctly. I lost the diddle, right?
Yeah.
And then I won the next leg.
Right.
If he holds his throw and wins the diddle, we're going to play a 5-leg match where I go second 4 times.
Right.
What is that? So anyway,
but was he right? Was he right or no?
Well, apparently, that's what they decided. They'd never done it before. This is a soft tip thing. This is what they do in like Dartslive Asia. When you play the 7-on-1 cricket, it's always mugs away. So your reward for breaking the guy's throw is you have to do it again.
Yeah.
What is this? So I don't know. I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I went like 97, ton 34, 97, 97, whatever. 70 something out. I said, okay, nice game. Right.
Okay.
And all I don't even remember throwing the 15 darts. I just remember being so irritated that they changed the rules on me in the middle of a match. And apparently they had agreed on it beforehand, and nobody took the time to tell me what the format of my match was. But since when does a steel player play mugs away in a 5-leg match?
But you guys had already each thrown a turn, and then they said that you weren't supposed to go first?
Started and thrown an 83.
But you weren't supposed to go.
No. And so they erased the board, and he started.
Oh, they erased the board, okay.
Right. So, I mean, the 83 didn't count.
Right.
I'm glad I didn't get DQ'd.
Right.
Whatever.
All right.
So, and I'm just kind of like, okay, now these are soft tippers, right? So, and they want soft tip rules, and I'm like, well, okay, this is pretty sure I didn't put any quarters in it. So I was very irritated with soft tip in general, right? So anyway, so we ended up, the men lost 5-4, so we're down two legs
now.
2 legs, right? But the way it worked out is we were the last ones to finish. So the women were absolutely smoking, the Southside women. So it came down to me and Bam Bam had to play best of 5, 5-0-1. If we lost, it was gonna be 18-18, and then we got to do like some sort of like
playoff,
1-leg 4-person 1,001 play. Who wants any part of that?
Nobody.
So we emerged victorious. And so
we actually have
we actually, if you want, you can read the report on.
There's a report.
We have a report from the official Chicago Northside Southside challenge match. We'll just read it into the record here. While you're getting ready, let's do the disclaimer real quick.
I'm not familiar precisely with exactly what I said, but I stand by what I said, whatever it was.
There we go. So we're covered on everything.
All right, yes. So in the waning hours...
Oh, no, you got to do the title.
There's no title. It's untitled.
Well, okay, the title of this report was North Side...
Annihilates South Side 19 to 17. Yeah.
So a total 2-point annihilation.
Annihilation. Right. In the waning hours of a Sunday afternoon in Chicago, the annual Northside-Southside Dart Challenge came down to the final men's doubles match when reigning state champion Steve Penuncialman hit double 10 for a 100 kill. The Northsiders avoided a one-leg playoff and rang up a memorable victory. It's a tough word today. Made even more remarkable by the dominance of the Northside women, Liz Tynan, Ann Tynan-Quinn, Heidi Schaefer, Sharon Rojas, June Leahy, whose collective 7-2 score contributed heavily to the Northside's 1917 victory. Quote, "It's awesome," said Steve. "The Southsiders brought a bunch of soft-tip pros, and they tried to roll us. But in the end, our doubles beat their triples. I'm gutted," said Danny T.W. Delfino, an Indiana soft-tipper playing for the Southsiders. "Even though I'm not cool enough to live in Illinois, they let me come here to help them lose." Perhaps the real reason behind the Southsiders' demise had nothing to do with their actual play, but by the chocolate-brown shirts they wore. "Look, how can you feel good about yourself when you look like a Baby Ruth candy bar?" An unquoted person said. Many Southsiders were left speechless by the unexpected turn of events. "I don't get it," said one loser. "It's not good that they didn't play better than us, but they looked so good doing it." Said another disappointed Southsider, "Look, I'm not sure we even belong in the same city as the Northsiders. They're better looking, better mannered, and funnier than we are. I wish we could play on their team." The Northsiders, ever gracious in victory, issued the traditional team photograph at the conclusion of the match. "We didn't want to rub it in," said one Northsider, requesting anonymity. "They seemed so upset. They were counting on winning. They brought all of these famous soft-tip players. They had pros on their amateur team, but it wasn't enough." And then, at the end, rumors abounded that next year the Southsiders were going to fly in some Englishmen to ensure victory.
Okay.
So that was
nice.
That's your report on the North-South South
Thank
side.
Thank you for that report. It was a fun time. I mean, like I said last week, I mean, this is one of those events that, people take it seriously. People, try to win. There's a lot of pride on the line. But it's a really fun afternoon of darts,
right?
And the Southside people, they're great sports. There are a lot of great players. So I got to rib them a little bit.
It was a good time.
Yeah, and they posted on Facebook how ugly my hair was and choke on my ponytail,
right,
and all this other stuff. Although one guy did have a good idea. He's like, how elephants do like paintings and they auction them off? I can actually use my ponytail as a brush and paint some stuff.
Well,
and at
least for another month.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Just by the way, you guys have not ponied up anything for this haircut. So unless you guys start, donating some money, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do Philadelphia.
Right.
It's not Philadelphia. It's somewhere in Pennsylvania. So let's go. Let's contribute to Johnny K's Toys for Tots. I'll post the link after the show, and you guys get to it. Let's take a real quick break, and we'll be back with some results. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark and Steve P. We'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back. Brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Let's talk some Darts Live.
Yes.
Okay.
So you watch the whole thing.
full report here. Here comes 9 hours of viewing, encapsulated into, I don't know, a 15-minute segment or something. This was the best, well, with the exception of like the first couple rounds. And this is something, let's just talk about streaming real quick.
Sure.
Okay, because I wanted to talk about this when I was watching that live stream last week from the Kansas City tournament.
Yeah.
People need to really understand and appreciate what they're putting out there for everyone to see. Like on this show, we don't cuss.
Right.
We don't swear. We're relatively polite about stuff. I mean, we talk about issues, right? And we try to be constructive in our criticism, and apparently we criticize everything and everybody.
Well,
but we're nice about it.
Apparently
we try to be rational and all this stuff. But if you're trying to sell darts as a sport, right? This is a kind of a touchy subject. Do you want to put amateurs up there that are going to take 20 minutes to play a single leg that consists mostly of missing and one counts and stuff like that?
Well, no, I mean, you would hope that everybody up there would be playing their best and everything would move along smoothly.
But it's kind of an odd thing because everybody kind of wants their moment in the sun.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that. But I wonder if we need to have it on a separate channel, because if you're trying to sell a product and then somebody tunes in and sees, a really low, I don't know, not low grade match, but a low quality match by amateurs, what are they going to come away from? Or what are they going to come away from that thinking?
Right.
Right? You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, it'd be different if you already had a product like the NFL does where it's sold even though they have a bad game on Thursday nights.
Well, you got two
everybody's
teams
going to watch anyway because...
And the NFL is all about parity.
Yeah.
Right? And the Darts Live format is all about parity. When you're going to go mugs away every leg, you're giving the guy behind a chance to catch up, right? So... And we have to talk about this cricket limit they got, but the matches don't go that long, and when players are playing well, it moves along pretty rapidly. When you compare it to what the PDC is putting out there with the big crowds and the 0-1 and the score,
right.
Here's the double, next leg, score. That's very watchable.
Yes.
If you're going to be putting amateurs on there that aren't going to play at a high enough level to make it enjoyable to watch, except for their family and friends, all the efforts that other people are making to increase the exposure of the sport and increase the image of the sport are going to suffer.
Are you saying this happened in Kansas City, or?
I'm saying just in general. I'm not picking on Kansas City. I'm just saying that if you're going to stream stuff, you need to be careful about what you stream.
How do you do that, though?
Well, you have rules. Like the PDC, they're not allowed to drink alcohol on stage.
Right.
They can't drink anything but water. In the Darts Live, they don't really do that. So you could see guys like, sipping on a beer. It wasn't like anybody was, falling down, drunk or anything like that. But, for the vast majority of Americans that we're trying to get into looking at darts as a sport and not just a bar game that, everything either contributes or doesn't. Now, we try to, be positive on the show, and, there's only so much we can do, but kind of just like, oh, by the way, maybe guys should think about this, right? If it's if you want to stream your league matches to your league so other people can see your matches, that's fine. But, putting it on a link where everyone in the world can watch it, not sure that's a good idea.
Okay.
Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
now,
I agree with you.
If your league team consists of Marissa Miller and Mylan Kundus, or what the girl that was on the cover? Mila whatever.
Kundus?
I mean,
yeah.
Okay. There's more than one thing that's watchable.
Right.
Right?
Nobody's watching the dart go into the board.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
If you've got Marissa Miller and she's not that good, there's a portion of the audience that will watch anyway.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Not hardcore darters, maybe, but,
Yeah, but then
I'm just saying.
You're going against
I'm just saying.
You're going against your selling the sport theory.
Look, when people first found Facebook, it took a little while to realize that maybe you don't want to post that.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to say
Well,
that. And maybe you don't want to put that out there for everyone
People
to
still
see.
haven't realized that.
Well, yeah, kids get expelled, and
Yeah.
guys end up getting divorced, and whatever. Okay, so the tournament organizers need to understand that if their goal, right, is to raise the image of a sport, then there are rules to follow. And Dartslive does an excellent job. I mean,
so you're just saying that in certain instances
I'm
they
just
shouldn't
saying,
stream certain games because they know who's playing.
I'm not saying don't stream it, but if you're going to be streaming a match of beginners, maybe don't tell everybody where it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Let the league players know where it is so they can watch it, but don't put it out there for everybody to find, because in the long run, it's not really going to help.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then they'll be disinterested to watch the good matches.
Yeah, I think it's great that you can stream all this stuff now. Now the question is, you need to kind of pick and choose what you want to have everybody see.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that makes sense.
Is that, you see?
I know what you're saying.
I don't know. Soft tippers. Okay, so we're going to talk about Dartslive. The biggest difference between a steel tipper and a soft tipper, right,
is
I've identified two.
Two differences.
There are two major differences.
Okay.
That I find between soft tippers and steel tippers. Should we do the results first?
If you want.
Where are we on time?
Oh, you got
Where's the clock?
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Let's do the results. Let me set this up. They had, in America, they ran some qualifiers. They called them Dragon qualifiers.
Right.
And the prize at the end of the line where they were going to fly the two winners, so the top two guys of their final qualifier, they were going to fly them to Hong Kong, and they were going to automatically be in the big money World Soft Tip Championship in December. So they had like qualifiers like in Wisconsin and outside in Rockford, I think. They had them in California. I don't know where else they had them, but they had their final over the weekend, or well, it was actually last week.
All right.
So congratulations to the top four guys were Pat Howard, who I met in Vegas. He was on my Gallant team.
Okay.
Or I was on his Gallant team.
Right.
So good for him. And also Jimmy DeMore, Chicago guy.
Yeah.
So they were one match short. The guys that will be representing America in Hong Kong at the World Soft Tip Championship, congrats to Todd Jordan and Frank Hernandez. Way to go, guys.
Yeah.
I thought that's a pretty cool prize to win. I'm pretty sure airfare to Hong Kong's over $1,000, right? And now you're in. You got a whack at the big money. It's going to be like $125,000, something like that for
awesome.
the winner. Yeah, it's huge money. Somebody's asking in the chat room also about the Dartslive PDC partnership, and I want to talk about this. Well, I want to talk about this because we were talking about getting politics out of darts.
Right.
Now, I have been haranguing ADO members about how come whoever's number one in the ADO points list doesn't get an invitation to the World Championship, to the BDO World Championship.
Is there an answer?
Oh, well, no.
No. They just don't have it set up that way?
How come the number one American didn't get in the PDC? Well I don't know. Whatever. 2 years Dartslive's been around. Their champion now gets an invite into the PDC World Championship.
Okay.
2 years. How long has the ADO been around?
I have no idea.
I suspect, and I can't say this for sure, but I suspect part of the problem with the ADO not being able to get their top people guaranteed spots into World Championships is simply because they bet on the wrong horse. When the BDO and the PDC split, the ADO has
back in the BDO?
They are still aligned with the BDO and this WDF shell game they got going.
Yeah.
Right? And the only people that have benefited from it are, I don't know, the WDF hasn't done anything for American players. Not a thing. rumor that I heard was that they had an opportunity to get a spot at some point, a year or two ago, and they turned it down because they felt that one of their top players wouldn't be allowed to play because he was a PDC member. So then if you're a PDC member, you can't play in the BDO. This is like this British civil war they've had going for 20 years.
All right.
Where you got one guy who's trying to be the dictator of darts, and at some point the players said, you know what, we can do very well without you, thank you very much, and they have now totally surpassed anything that the BDO has ever done. The PDC is now the be-all and end-all of darts. And anybody who doesn't think that, good luck convincing me otherwise. So now...
but nobody at the ADO wants to change anything in order to...
I don't know. I can't speak for the ADO, but the fact that they couldn't even get like the top American into Lakeside, into the embassy, into their world championship has hurt American darts immeasurably.
Yeah.
Which means I can't measure how much it's hurt.
Right.
Because the idea... Think about the ADO points list. Everybody's like whining about ADO points chasing and stuff like that, right? Where there's really nothing at the end of the line for whoever does end up winning the ADO points championship. But what you do is you motivate tournament players to go to more tournaments, which helps all the tournaments that are, contributing to the ADO to have their tournament sanctioned.
Okay, but why do people care about the ADO points list if there's nothing at the end of the line?
That I can't speak to. However, if there was something at the end of the line, more people would chase ADO points, and then more people would go to ADO tournaments, and it's the, trickle up
effect.
Kind of triple up, right?
Right.
Tournaments are going to have more people come into play, right? That's more revenue for the sanctioning body. And then for the players, you now get something at the end of the line.
Yeah, there's something to play for.
Yeah. Right? And then for the players, if you do make it that far and you get on the big stage and you have a good run, now you have exposure and you're a name and you can, use that to enhance your own dart career.
Yeah.
Right? So it's good for everybody. And yet we haven't done it. It took Dartslive 2 years, and it's taken the ADO over 20, and they still haven't done it. So there's a problem and a disconnect somewhere.
Sure.
Where that's where I'm irritating thing about the politics of darts. And it's incumbent on the players to put an end to it. Because the organizations haven't done it.
Right.
Right? So until the players get together and say, this is what we want and we're not taking no for an answer, there isn't going to be any change. I had a long talk with somebody about, changing, things changing with the ADO. And I'm like, I don't think anything's going to change for at least a year. But if you want change, what change do you want? I'll help you push it if it's a good idea.
But how do you go about it? But did they not go to tournaments? Do you not, how do
you go about what?
Changing the ADO's mind.
Well, the players are going to have to get on the same page, write up exactly what they want, present it to the ADO board with the signatures of all these players and say, this is what we want, and if we don't get it, then,
Then what? I guess that was my question.
Well, then players are going to do what they're going to do. I mean, there have been more opportunities now this year to do things that are outside the ADO than there have been in the time I've been playing. And if those things are going to grow and the ADO is going to shrink, that's suicidal to the ADO, right? So they need to get with the program. Just saying. I'm all for that. I like the ADO. I just think that, they need direction.
Yes.
And the direction needs to come from the players. Collectively.
Right.
Right? The will of the players will be done, kind of thing. Right?
Exactly.
Anyway, okay.
All right.
Oh, Dartslive Asia. Did I even say what the difference was between the soft tippers and the steel tippers?
No, you never got to that.
Okay, well, after this break, we'll do it. So this will be a short one. We'll be right back. Alrighty, we're back.
Yes, we are.
Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
The DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Ooh, I just like saying that today. We got results.
It's good you're excited about something.
Well, I can't remember who told me this one phrase, but somebody with a sunny disposition was always saying, well, every day you get a new set of crayons. And I'm like, really? Because I remember using stubs and stuff.
Yeah.
I got new crayons on the way. I'm excited. All right, let's do. We have partial results from Myrtle Beach, from Ghost on the Coast, and also we'll run down the Americans at Dartslive, and then I'll get back to this whole soft tip, steel tip thing. So run down. Let's do Ghost on the Coast first. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The blind draw went to Danny Scheuer and Chris Bowling. Men's singles 501, Jeremy Beatonbaugh. Men's doubles 501. Ed Comet and Wes Lippert lose to Larry Butler and Ryan Barnett. Men's singles cricket, top four, Pat Hewitt and Gary Mawson, and Mark Ferris second with Larry Butler winning that. Men's doubles cricket, Bruce Davey and Dave Watson, second place with Larry Butler and Robbie Phillips winning that.
Okay, I should mention this, and I don't know, somebody said it was trivia, like, has anybody swept the men's doubles with different partners at a $15,000 tournament? I have no idea, but apparently you know,
well, they
Larry
have now
did it.
regardless.
And I'm like, well, has anybody ever swept the mixed doubles at a $20,000 tournament?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I did it with Paula Murphy last year in
there
Charlotte.
you go.
So, you know, whatever, trivia. I don't know.
Well,
but it was kind of an interesting, I don't know why somebody couldn't show up the next day, but whatever. Go ahead. Run.
Ladies singles 501, Paula Murphy. Ladies doubles 501, Paula Murphy and Tyler Mears get second with Sandy Hudson and, is that Sandra or Kendra?
I would say Sandra.
Sandra McClellan winning ladies doubles 501. Ladies singles cricket, Paula Murphy second, Stacy Bromberg first. Ladies doubles cricket, Sandy Hudson and Sandra McClellan second with Paula Murphy and Tyler Mears.
It may be Kendra if they had it in there twice like that. Anyway, Paula, who is your partner?
Sandra?
I think Paula's in the chat room. Anyway, move on. We'll fix it later. All right.
Mixed doubles 501, Paula Murphy and Timothy Adams lose to Ashley Brandel and Kyle Owen. Mixed doubles cricket, Sandy Hudson and Ryan Barnett lose to Tyler Mears and Tim O'Gorman. And the mixed triples goes to Candy Ellis, Jerry Hilborn, and Pat Hewitt.
Some of my favorite people. And it is Kendra. Thank you, Paula.
Sorry, Kendra.
So that was Ghost of the Coast in Myrtle Beach. Okay, let's run through the Americans in Darts Live.
Americans in Darts Live, Stage 8. Donnie Joe was top 128. Rob Heckman was top 64. Chris White, top 32. Rick Espinoza, top 16, along with Scott Miller, top 16. Darren Young was top 4, and Ray Carver was first.
Yeah, and some very good matches. Congrats to Espy. He posted something that he's going to get seated in the main event in December, so good for him. I know he's been out there a few times. Scotty Miller was the guy who was the runner-up in Vegas at the Darts Live in Vegas, and I got a chance to watch his match. Went down to the fifth leg. Darren lost to Paul Lim, who lost to Ray.
Okay.
So that they had a really good match. Went down to the last leg. Everybody in the top 8 and up. The only break of throw I saw was the very last leg where Ray was up 2-1 and ended up. I think he started out with 7 triples and beat Paul
nice.
Lim. And again, it was something I said. I don't know, some shows ago about how if you want to win this thing, you gotta win going second in cricket.
Right.
That's how you win this thing. And that's how Ray won it. And Ray, to be honest, every now and then I get a sense, you know what, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. It looks like we're losing our bandwidth. So let me check on this. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Sorry
Problems
about that.
fixed.
Yeah, for some reason, we have 4 greens on the bandwidth, and all of a sudden it just turns red. So I don't know if that affected anything or not.
Maybe it wasn't happy with what you were saying.
Really? Was it that bad?
No.
No,
you were talking about Ray Carver winning.
Everything kind of, the matches I saw, it was almost every leg went with the throw. I saw lots of perfect games and 15 dart 0-1 games, right? 14's perfect, right?
Right.
You go trip 17 on your last dart. You throw bullseyes till you're on 101 from 701.
Yeah.
So you throw 4 rounds of bullseyes, then another bull to leave 51, and then you hit the triple. So there are a bunch of, you did it again. So there were a bunch of perfect games I saw, and a high quality of play.
Good.
I was. I don't want to say impressed because that sounds like I'm judging, but it was an impressive display of
it was worth the watch
expertise by all the players.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was pretty compelling. You got guys getting smoked in the 0-1, and then they come back, smoke you in the cricket. And it was some really good matches. The other guy who was top 4 was Ronald Briones of the Philippines, and I thought he played spectacular. And just got beat in the end, by great play.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'll say about the soft tip was watching Ray play. It seemed to me that he was throwing harder. He had more arm speed than he usually does, and I don't know if that was just from, the
video
streaming feed that I was getting or not. But he hit so many bullseyes in a row that guys started to look a little intimidated.
Right.
Seriously. And part of it is like, when you go second in that 0-1 game and you get the sense the other guy isn't going to miss a bull, the minute you miss, it's guys
you're
are
done.
Mentally kind of defeated, and I think maybe starting to already think about the cricket or something.
Yeah.
So
I can see that happening.
Congrats to Ray. That's the 3rd stage he's won in the last 14 months or whatever.
Really?
But more than anybody else. So he's got to be pleased about that. We should have tried to get him on the show. Have him come by the studio. He was down the street.
Was
he
he
was at
really?
the airport, and I was too busy yakking on the phone.
So you got differences.
Oh yeah,
I want to know your two main differences between.
Okay, and I don't know. I assume I'm going to have to take some flack for
Well,
this,
of course.
But let's define our terms first, though. A soft tipper,
Yes.
is someone who started out playing soft tip. And a steel tipper is somebody who started out playing steel. Let's use those as terms. I mean, there's a lot of people that play both.
Yeah.
However, I have noticed something, partly because I was exposed to a lot of soft tippers on Sunday. Not only did I watch it for 9 hours, but then I had to deal with the soft tippers, at this
shootout
north-south thing. Yeah. And it struck me at some point that the primary difference between a steel tipper and a soft tipper, I thought of a baseball analogy.
Okay.
And that is that soft tippers are throwers and steel tippers are pitchers. And it stands to reason it would evolve that way.
Yeah.
Right? Because the targets in soft tip are more forgiving because they're larger, and, guys are, especially, people that pick up darts quickly or usually have some sort of throw something background. They played baseball, they played football, they played basketball, whatever. Right? So it stands to reason that you'd see these guys that are a little more athletic and more rhythm shooters and stuff like that, whereas steel tippers are, to my mind, much more composed, much more controlled. Their movements are more deliberate. In general, I'm generalizing, but if I watch somebody that I've never seen play, I'll bet you
you're going to be able
more than 9 times out of 10, I'll tell you, oh, he started out in soft tip, or he started out. So there's a visual cue there, that you can pick up on. And when it comes to the women, I really wish that I could see them play more often. So I can't really tell.
Okay.
When it comes to the women. One of the things
But you would think that the same analogy would work for them as well.
One would hope. Otherwise, the analogy sort of breaks down.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? So okay, calling a guy a thrower and a pitcher, is that an insult?
No, I don't think so. It's just a difference.
A lot of baseball players start out as throwers, but then learn to pitch.
Yeah, but but they're successful at both.
Well, yeah.
Some people, you can be a successful thrower and successful pitcher.
I wonder, though, if you want to be the best dart player you can be, and you started out playing soft tip, I'm thinking at some point, if you don't learn how to play steel, you're never going to be the player you could be. I'm looking at all the guys that were in the final 8 of this the Dartslive thing, and they're all steel tippers.
Right.
Ray Carver plays a lot of soft tip, but he started out in steel. Darren Young started out, I believe, playing Witties, which is those like wooden American darts with the weird board. Lightweight darts, and then went to steel.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Lawrence Illigan started out with started out with steel. Paul Lim was a fantastic steel player. He threw the first televised 9-dart game, right?
Right.
And for reasons, I assume business reasons, a lot of these steel tippers have gone and started playing electronic darts.
Yeah.
But they're steel players, right? So I was talking to somebody on the phone, and we're trying to run down the list of people that have been like exclusively soft tip, and they're good players, but they're never going to be as good as they could be if they didn't, learn to play steel and learn to be a good steel player. Is kind of all I'm saying.
Right. Okay.
And the other difference I've noticed, it seems to me that soft tippers have a lot more ego.
In what aspect?
In the way they
play. They believe they're going to win?
Like, they seem to play more emotional. They seem to talk more. They seem to be... and I'm not saying this in a bad way.
Is that because generally you have to almost throw a perfect game to win?
I don't know.
Because, what you're saying...
It may just be like where you started playing. Like, some places are more boisterous than others, maybe.
Well, maybe, but...
And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of strange. Like, I've been shushed at tournaments. I got shushed
that's not a
couple weeks ago.
Right.
No, this is when I'm cheering for players.
Yeah.
And I've played in tournaments where I hit like a big shot and gave like a come on and had somebody 3 boards down being like, "Hey, there's other people playing here." So maybe there's some sort of it's evolved in steel that you're supposed to be kind of like nice and quiet when you play. As a gesture of respect or something, whereas
maybe
in soft tip it's not like that. For one, the machines make so much noise.
Yeah.
All right, if the machines can make noise, I guess I can too. What's the point of being quiet if I'm just going to hear a ding 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 ding
all day
ding,
long,
right? But in steel, you're just hearing the dart hit the board. So I don't know if it's evolved that way or not, but I've always been convinced if you're going to be the best player you can be, you have to play your personality.
Sure.
And if your personality is that you're going to be like a boisterous guy who, brags and says, "Hey, I'm going to," like I was seeing this thing on Ray Lewis.
Yeah,
they're pumping themselves up to get themselves going, and that's the way they're going to play their best, and they should play that way.
Sure.
Right? I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It just strikes me as like, in steel, you don't really see that. I played
but
some
you're saying more soft tippers are like that.
It seems like the ones I run across are more like that. I played some guy in cricket, I think he was from Minnesota or something, total soft tipper. And, he's a good cricket player, so we're down to the last leg, and I open up with a ton 80, and then I throw a 7 count, then I throw like a white horse, and I win. And the guy looks at me, he's like, "Well, you're a real grinder, huh?" And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Well, most guys just go in there and hit triples, and I can't believe you beat me." And I'm like, "I went 9-7-9. How often do you win?"
Yeah,
when a guy does that to you, and the guy's like, "Well, I win all the time," and I'm just like, "Okay, welcome to Chicago." I mean, it's a steel board. Guys generally don't throw 9-7-9 leg after leg after leg.
Right.
Not the people I see.
Right.
And I see them all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So maybe you think they have more ego because they're generally hitting.
They're used to hitting
stuff. Yeah, they're throwing perfect games, and you have to win.
Right.
And so they're assuming they're always going to hit something.
I can think of 2 people that have thrown perfect games in steel in the last 5 years. I saw 7 or 8 of them Sunday morning.
One night, yeah.
So the standards are different.
Sure.
Right? So if you're used to throwing perfect games, I have a feeling steel's going to be rough.
Yeah, a little bit.
You should be like, what is this? I just threw a 60 on a soft tip board. It would have been a ton 80.
Yeah.
And for steel tippers, it's different. It's like, oh, my God, I missed. How's that possible? The target's so big. Right. But it's further away, and it's in a different spot. So, I mean, it's kind of, I'm not trying to start a war, but let's face it.
But yeah, but so you're saying you get those soft tippers to start playing steel, they're going to get humbled a little bit when they realize that
they might get humbled at first, but eventually, it'll make them better players because they'll be successful. Yes. I mean, they can throw a dart. That's all it takes. Yeah. But
they
you got to
put some
time. Yeah, you got to put some time into it, and how much time do people have in one day? So they're prioritizing. And okay, I'm just going to play soft tip. I mean, I get that. Everybody says there's more money in soft tips, so why should they mess around with steel?
Sure.
My argument to them is if you play steel, you will become a better player. And isn't that what you want? To be a better player? I mean...
Unless it takes away from them going to bigger money tournaments.
Well, the better you are, the harder it is to improve.
True.
And you look at somebody like Tiger Woods who won all this stuff and then rebuilt his swing. Right? Sometimes you got to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. Right?
Sure.
So
he's also got all the time in the world to do that.
Well,
Tiger Woods,
you got to prioritize.
Yeah.
I mean, so you look at your schedule and you're like, well, when can I fit in some steel? Or you put a steel board up in your home, or whatever. I know Ray practices steel.
Yeah.
So I hear. He doesn't practice with me. I can't go out to Joliet. My gosh, it's like an hour and a half.
Oh my God.
Okay, we'll take one more break, and then we'll start with the Hypermodern Cricket. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve. Okay, and we're back for the last segment, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
Dartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. We're running out of time.
Yes,
but
as always.
Yeah. And just a reminder, we will not be here next week.
Election day.
It's Election Day. I am going to go watch the return somewhere.
Yes.
And I don't know, this storm. You should have saw the Lake Michigan today.
Yeah.
I was like,
I saw some video of it in the morning on the news. It was
Did you see it?
They were just amazed.
Like 20-foot waves?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
crazy. Did it like I saw this place we went to in Atlantic City underwater. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Stamford. They had pictures of waves lapping up. They wind gusts of 90 and ice lip, and then all these places where I go to dart tournaments, like Virginia Beach, was like got 10 inches of rain. I'm like, my gosh, they're killing. They're going after all my tournaments.
Exactly.
So
by the time those tournaments come about, everything should be restored.
Yeah, well wishes and to everybody who's like powerless right now. I talked to Bones. He says it won't be back for a week and stuff like that. So he says he's all right.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, we won't have a show next week. So what we'll do is we promised I would identify like the 5 principles of hypermodern cricket. We're not going to have time to expound on them.
No, we started talking about them last week, but we didn't list all 5.
Right, because I knew I was going to get them in the wrong order because I left them on my dresser. So we'll give you the 5 main principles of hypermodern cricket, and then we'll talk about them on our next show. What's number 1 there?
Your first one is identify your opponent.
Yes. The number 1 principle of hypermodern cricket is identifying your opponent.
Kind of like a poker standpoint when you try and every Texas Hold'em player has a different type of play of thing?
Yeah, there are some people that are convinced that, in 01 you play the board and in cricket you play the man. I don't buy into that, but there's an element there's an element to hypermodern cricket that a lot of people don't understand, especially if their only, knowledge of like cricket strategy is what they read in a magazine.
Okay.
So we'll explain why identifying your opponent is the number one thing to do with hypermodern cricket.
Then you seize the high ground.
Seizing the high ground is always necessary to win a game of cricket. We talked about that last week. Third is
prioritize.
Okay, we'll talk about that some more, but that's principle number 3 is prioritize. Right. And number 4?
Find the pressure points.
Find the pressure points. I really like when I put puns in titles, so that's why that is. Some people may know what we mean by that. I can assure you that you do not. But we will
find out in 2 weeks.
We'll get it. We'll explain all this to everybody, and it will make complete and utter sense to at least me.
To somebody, yeah.
Yeah, at least me.
We'll try, yeah. And the last one is set the pace.
Set the pace. Set the pace. Most people probably know what that means, and I assure you some of you will be wrong.
Of course.
Right, so those are the 5 principles of hypermodern cricket. Identify your opponent, seize the high ground, prioritize, find the pressure points, and set the pace. So we will talk about all of those cricket in 2 weeks, which will be November
7th.
Well, no.
13th.
13th?
Yeah.
You're the date guy. You know better than me.
November 13th.
So everybody have a safe Halloween.
Yes.
And enjoy what I believe is going to be a week off or weekend off for most people. I don't think there's much going on tournament-wise this weekend.
So it's been a little slow the last couple of weeks then.
A little slow? What, are you kidding me? There used to be nothing in November.
Right.
We had tournament results for 3 tournaments.
2 weeks ago you had, for you too, but 2 weeks ago you had a dart vacation. This weekend you only played on a Sunday?
I had a dart vacation when I should have been playing.
Right.
I mean, there were tournaments going on. I mean, it hasn't been quiet. It's been busy. It's been the busiest November on record, I'm sure.
Donate to Toys for Tots.
I will. I think I forgot last week. I'll post a link to Johnny K's Toys for Tots. You guys haven't donated anything as far as I'm concerned. So anybody who rips me on the hair, this is your chance to do something about it.
Put up or shut up.
Yeah, put up or shut up is kind of what I'm thinking. Anyway, Steve Pronsielman for Mystery Mark. Thanks for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and everybody take care.
Have a good evening.